So what are we to make of the players? And were they involved? And they were certainly involved on the pitch. Why didn't they perform?
Well, first of all, there was a meeting in Seville, not a kind of players going behind the manager's back, but owner asking players their view. And shortly afterwards, he was sacked. Now, do I think all those players knifed him, or any of the players knifed him? Not really, no. But I don't think... I know that there was a growing view in that dressing room for the past weeks that this wasn't working and that they might need a change. I don't think there was the loyalty there to him that there should have been. But it's just it's such a unique situation where you've got a team that has gone so far above what anybody expected of it, and has now fallen back, probably beyond. You know, it's almost like they've gone straight through, and they look a worse team than they did 2 years ago. If you look at the performances in the Great Escape season under Pearson, they were often good performances.
If you could hear the national anthem in the background,
stand up.
As long as you can you save it?
Stand up and salute.
If you can save it for about 4:25 this afternoon, that would be very helpful.
You'll get sacked if you
I know if I don't stand up and salute. Absolutely.
But their performances this season have at times been gutless, spiritless, heartless, and I think that is really where, you know, you could argue it's responsible in some ways for owners to gauge the mood in the dressing room. But the problem is the mood in the dressing. The problem is the performances on the pitch. The noises coming out of that club for the last few weeks, few months have been dreadful and have been of the type of sort of, I don't want to say downing of tools because it's not downing tools, but it's where players just sort of lose direction, lose faith in each other and in what they've been trying to achieve previously. And they looked like a team that in some ways needed some kind of shock treatment. And I think it's awful that they've sacked Ranieri. I think it's disgraceful. I would have given him the right to fail, the right to go down if necessary,
and
the right to build, the right to bring them back up, like I would Eddie Howe at Bournemouth.
Yeah.
But there is just this attitude these days that relegation is the end of the world. It's ridiculous, but that is the attitude. That if you look at it from a cold-hearted business view, which I don't and I can't, they all just panic, and they sack the manager, and it's sad, and it's what leads to a lot of failings in English football.
What an incident that sort of, I think, summed up the situation for me is at 9 a.m. on Friday, and Danny Taylor alludes to this in his column in The Observer this morning. The people around Vardy who are making this movie come out and say, don't worry, no concerns, the movie's still on.
Yeah.
Now, if I was Jamie Vardy, I'd be onto them and I'd be absolutely, what are you doing? This is disgusting. He'd been sacked hours before, and I think in terms of a reflection of, I think Danny called them sort of publicity ravenous clods, and I think that's a pretty accurate reflection. All he touched on, the money, relegation being the be-all and end-all for clubs now. I think sort of ambition is often sort of paralysed by money now.
Totally.
I think, you know, and the sort of the knock-on effect of that is that too many clubs are sort of mired in mediocrity and
but that's where Leicester want to be.
Yeah,
that's what, because if the guy had come 14th and then 13th this season, he'd still be in a job.
Yeah,
everyone would be happy. The money would be coming in. No one would have been frightened or startled by, you know, a sudden drop or whatever. If he'd have kept them up, and then the following season he's 1 or 2 places better, if he was where Watford are now or something like that, everyone would be going, he's done a solid job, hasn't he? Old Claudio at Leicester, you know, we all thought they'd get relegated, and, you know, he's kept them comfortably mid-table. No one's ever heard of them. No one knows them outside of Leicester. No one knows them outside of England, but what a fantastic job he's done. Instead, he's won the league. Now that's you know, and it's turned around and it's bitten him because he's won the league. You know, I find it staggering.
And this is the kind of conversation we've had previously about someone like Ancelotti, the next season, where he's won the league with Chelsea.
Is the double?
As favourites to win the league, or you know, with a brilliant squad, to win it with those players who have shown their true level in some ways this season and the seasons before. And that last season was utterly freakish and marvellously freakish, but it is and it was an incredible achievement. He deserved the chance, as we said.
Let's talk about some of the other issues involving Manchester United. Wayne Rooney this week, Ollie, and his decision. Releases a statement to say he's staying at Manchester United. It seems certainly until the end of the season. What are we to make of that his agent was in China, Paul Stretford? Was he in negotiations with clubs in the Chinese Super League? Did it not work out? Were there offers there? What do we think happened?
Well, I know there's been interest and inquiries from Chinese clubs over the last 12 months to Rooney and to Rooney's people, and I don't know whether that meeting or that trip to China the other day was to try and drum up something in the hope of getting a move next week. It would seem the logical conclusion to the fact that he was there, but that's been denied. But it's I don't think it would make sense for Rooney at this point to go to China. And I know we've seen players do it. We know the money is fantastic. He's also on fantastic money at United. He's just broken the club's all-time goal-scoring record. He could end up this season with 3 medals, perhaps lifting 3 trophies. I don't think he'll be around next season at United. All the whispers suggest otherwise, or that he's coming to the conclusion that he needs perhaps a change of scenery. But he has got a great opportunity to, between now and the end of the season, to achieve something more at United. I mean, the last 3-4 years at United probably haven't been very satisfying for him, and he's got the opportunity perhaps to go out on a high and then look at it in the summer and think, well, if he wants to go to China, I'm sure those offers will still be there. If he wants to go elsewhere, to Europe or to America or perhaps somewhere else in the Premier League, which I think is unlikely, there'll be offers there.
I don't think he envisaged ever leaving in mid-season, and suddenly he's presented with a scenario whereby, he's not just sort of on the periphery. He's so far down the pecking order now, behind a lot of players, that he was presented with a sort of a situation where he's like, this is alien to me. What do I do? And I think he's made very clear privately that he's not interested in hanging around on the bench and coming on for 20 minutes in Europa League games and 10 minutes here in the League Cup. He does want to play, but I think you look at the United side now, it's very hard to sort of see a place for him on a regular sort of occurrence. I think he's made the right move. There's obviously a lot of debate whether there was a firm sort of contract offer for him to move this month, but there's a prospect of another 3 trophies, and a sort of a top 4 finish. I think seeing out the season was a smart move, and then he can consider his options in the summer. But I do expect him to leave in the summer. You do.
Has he made the right call here, Martin? The opportunity to leave mid-season. James makes the point. 3 more trophies.
Yeah, I couldn't see why he'd leave Manchester United midway through this season. I really can't. And I don't really see, apart from the money, why you'd go to China. And unless you really thought that you couldn't cut it at a Premier League club of significance. So I think it's unfortunate. I think Wayne has come to the conclusion that other people have come to, that Jose Mourinho has come to, because the thing is that there's no way that Mourinho hasn't tried to force him out here. He's given him every opportunity. He started him, talked about him as a number 10, put him back to the position that everyone thought was his favourite position, was his best position. And it just hasn't worked out. And he's got a guy there who is an older guy, Ibrahimovic, who's a phenomenal athlete. And you can't replace him with somebody who is less mobile, who is less. So he's got to get younger legs on there, and that's what's done for him in the end.
When you say about a Premier League club of significance, what kind of club could you imagine signing him in the Premier League?
Well, this is what I mean.
I don't see it. I mean, people have always talked about Everton. I don't think he gets in that team.
No, this is what I mean. That's what I'm saying, Ollie, that he has come to the conclusion that everyone's come to, that he's not quite up there. He can't get into an Everton team anymore. And even if you were looking, who's below Everton? I think it's West Brom. Is it West Brom? So even if you're looking at West Brom, and yes, a massive step down, Manchester United to West Brom. But would you get in the West Brom team at the moment? Because that's functioning really, really well as it is.
He's made the point, and I do actually believe him when I say he won't play for any other Premier League club than Everton and United. Now, that's not to say people don't change their minds, because they do regularly.
He'd go back to Everton, you're saying?
He's saying the only 2 Premier League clubs he'd ever play for are Everton and United. So if he's staying in the Premier League and he leaves United, Everton's the only option. Now, Koeman has made it quite clear that he would take him, not sure that we necessarily see that through. But when you earn the amount of money Wayne Rooney does, you know, when the players take pay cuts, it just doesn't happen.
No,
and so logically, you know, unless there's some dramatic offer from Italy or something, China or the US, realistically, if he wants to stay earning the amount of money he does, are the only sort of options open to him.
Craig Shakespeare takes the team for the game against Liverpool tomorrow night. Clearly wants the job until the end of the season. But other options, Nigel Pearson being one of them that's emerged over the past couple of days. It seems that lesser players would accept or want him back. Mancini's been mentioned here this morning as well. Where do they go? Who do they turn to?
I think the Pearson idea is intriguing, really. I mean, we had that in our paper on Friday morning, that there was a significant number of players who wanted Pearson, and I think had conveyed that view. And he is a guy who knows that dressing room, who knows the club, and you know, left under very, very difficult circumstances 2 years ago, but he's very well liked by an awful lot of players there. And it was interesting, even during the title season, a lot of players were going out of their way to say how important Pearson had been in that. And in some ways it felt like they retained a level of respect for Pearson after he left that they didn't retain for Ranieri this season. So I think if it were to be Pearson, I think he would go in and you know, rattle some cages in press conferences as well and do a good job.